May 23rd. Come to order, we will now rise to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And roll call. Director Asner.
Here.
Director Cuneo.
Here.
Director Faulkner. Director Hudson. Here. Director Muller.
Here.
Vice President Byers. Here. President Petrov. Here. And would you like to make a motion to excuse Curtis tonight?
I would
Director
recommend
Faulkner.
Jan Rose.
Okay.
Okay.
Aye.
Right, thank you. So we're going to start tonight with the budget hearing. Nobody signed up to speak. Does anybody have any questions? To adjourn? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Yeah, let me know when you're ready to go to the meeting. So now we will start the business meeting for tonight. We need to roll call in first. Okay. Director Asner.
Here.
Director Cuneo.
Here.
Director Faulkner. Director Hudson. Here. Director Muller.
Here.
Vice President Byers. Here. And President Petrov. Here. First thing on our agenda, 2.01, teachers and support staff of the year. Recognitions and
Evening, President Safra, members of the board, Dr. Keenan, and members of our school community. SSD has many outstanding teachers and support staff employees that are recognized not only by our district, but also by our partner districts. We would like to honor SSD Teachers of the Year, as well as SSD employees that have been selected as Teacher of the Year and Support Staff Employees of the Year in our partner districts. Their dedicated service makes such a positive difference in the lives of SSD students, families, and staff throughout St. Louis County. Please come forward as your name is called and remain at the front for a group photo. Nikki DeMuro, a paraprofessional at Long Elementary School in the Lindbergh School District. Bedazzle Pearl, speech language pathologist at Willowbrook Elementary in the Pattonville School District. Donna Teagle, a paraprofessional at Margaret Berkeley Middle School in the Melville School District. Now we have Gary on here, but he goes by Rick Rhymes. He is a teacher at Glasgow Elementary in the Riverview Gardens School District. Carolyn Hopfinger, a teacher at Long Elementary in the Lindbergh School District. Karen Carson, a teacher at Rogers Middle School in the Afton School District. Samara Melding, teacher at Highland Elementary in the Riverview Gardens School District. And also Tara Sweet, at Lewis and Clark Elementary in the Riverview Gardens School District. Last but not least, we have Michelle Cantino, our 2023 SSD Teacher of the Year. Michelle is a teacher at New Honor High School and was honored at the Salute Award and Retirement Banquet in April. Let's give them a round of applause.
Board, if I could ask you to stand for.
Goodness gracious. Oh, gosh.
Let's see everyone, all right? Ready, 1, 2, 3. So, for a moment. 1, 2, 3.
Additional winners who could not join us tonight are Trina Mitchell-Collins, a teacher at Keegan Elementary in the Hazelwood School District, Jamie Rose, a teacher at Tillman Elementary in the Kirkwood School District, Emily Flesh, a teacher at Kaiser Elementary in the Kirkwood School District, Ellen Smith, a teacher a speech language pathologist at Rogers Elementary in the Melville School District, Beverly Limecooler, a teacher at South Middle School in the Parkway School District, Thomas Hernandez, a paraprofessional at Beasley Elementary in the Melville School District, Ryan Hitchell, a paraprofessional at Hageman Elementary in the Melville School District, Heather Sales, a registered behavior technician at Oakfield Elementary in the Melville School District, and Nancy Dake, a paraprofessional at Melville High School in the Melville School District. Thank you for your hard work and congratulations.
Next on our agenda, 2.02, the SDNEA mini grants and scholarships.
Good evening, everyone. Lindsay Weatherby is my PR chairperson, and together with her committee, we chose 11 for mini grants, and then there were 4 students who received scholarships. 12 teachers, okay. 12 teachers for mini grants and 4 students who are seniors who are going on to college for their scholarships. So we're going to start with scholarships.
All right. First, we have Andres Giardina. He is going to go to the Community College and study general arts. Liz Albury, she is going to St. Louis Community Arts. Jamal Hayes is going to go to the University of Missouri St. Louis program. We have one more that wasn't able to be here, Terrence Clark. He is going to also attend St. Louis College to get his view.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, for mini grants. First, we have Allison Gill. She is at Lindinger. Her grant is going to be used class supplies to aid in communication for 75+ students so that they can better understand the vocabulary and some of the things that they are trying to. Then we have Christina Manolo and Jenny. Their name right, but and then Danielle from Griffin. They are all part of the Early Childhood Outcome Department. Danielle is getting everyone's checks, and they are she's getting their reward. They are all working on some tech devices, some family engagement, some ways to really help bring from Tellison Elementary, and she's creating a sensory lab for both general education and special education students. Madeline McDonald from Belgrade Elementary is going to be setting up flexible seating in her classroom in order to provide different learning spaces. Molly Rain Evans is also picking up Amanda Wise, and we are working on Molly's creating circle spaces designed for social skill instruction and to kind of things that they would and then also going to be working on Monica Food is from California, and she is also part of that community. Both programs that you Bonnie Robinson is purchasing supplies for preschool programs that they have some hands-on social skills curriculum that they can use to really is going to be purchasing some supplies that students have started. They collect different resources, they share them with the community, and that will do the same thing with the things that are set.
You might have to come behind the table.
Oh, okay. Behind the table.
Well, thank you, everyone. That was wonderful. We have one public comment tonight. I'm going to read the instructions on the. So welcome to the Special School District of the County Board of Education Business Meeting. Up to 30 minutes of each Board Education Business Meeting is set aside to hear public comment. The Board of Education values your input, and we thank you for your comment. Each comment is limited to just 3 minutes to address any item that is a legitimate question before. No confidential or personnel-related topics are allowed. Comments would be read in the order that they were received by email or signed up on the list, and contents of the email and sender's name and the address have been submitted to the Secretary of Board and will become part of the official public record of the meeting. So, Mary Fitzgerald is here.
Hi, SSD board members. I'm Mary Fitzgerald, sibling of 1978 graduate of the Singer School. I'm a former special educator and the parent of an SSD partner district high school student, and a person with disabilities. I served as the Kirkwood PAC representative for 6 years. I'm a founding partner of anti-bullying SCL. You know that students with disabilities are 2 to 3 times greater risk of being targets of bullying. They're 7 times more likely to consider suicide. What is SSD doing to help our families? I challenge you to go to the SSD website. Pretend you're a parent or a student trying to report bullying and see what resources there are for us. There are none. None. In the Kirkwood School District, over 50 students have been assessed for suicide thoughts in the past 2 years. A lot. When our kids are in crisis, we are too. We feel scared, exhausted, and overwhelmed. There's a shame component to being the victim. We want to protect our children, and we feel isolated. We need a clear, compassionate district page with all the resources. It's crucial that our partner districts coordinate with SSD staff at all levels for appropriate support. We need trauma-responsive team support to help develop IEP goals that teach self-advocacy and self-regulation, and teams that know how to write those goals. There's nothing on many partner district websites either to support our families experiencing bullying. There's nothing on Kirkwood. There should be the following: The decision tree specifically for bullying, identifying bullying and harassment, link to sexual harassment reporting site, administrator contact information, all of that. It should be there. A link to the Courage to Connect reporting, that's a DESI program. How to recognize the impact on mental health. Support for suicidal ideation, behavioral health response, chat, partner district counseling contacts for each building. This is the most important message for students and for parents, but especially students. You do not deserve the harassment and bullying. You might be tired, it's May, school's almost out. I'm exhausted with supporting my team through finals week. He's a virtual student because his school was unsafe. I'm requesting the concerns I'm raising tonight to be placed on the agenda for a work meeting this summer, so you are prepared for next fall. And you know, I know the importance of data. I'm a former special educator, and I'm calling you to actually collect and report data with SSD buildings and partner districts about incidents that have been actually investigated, and then do something more. You survey those parents, and you're going to find all the incidents that were never investigated that parents reported. And then some incidents that parents didn't report and children didn't report. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it, and you're not going to help our kids. I talked to a lot of different parents in the 22 partner districts in my past. A lot of them are talking about their kids being bullied, and they don't know what to do. There is a program called Upstanders that a lot of districts use. Students and staff can learn what to do. Do you all know what to do, especially teachers in the back? Do you know what to do if you see bullying and harassment, either in your building or out in the world? I've taken that training. It's great. It's really important. It's like first aid for life. We're not directly teaching staff and students how to identify and safe and responsibility. We're missing an opportunity to develop lifelong skills for a healthier society. We ask you to make anti-bullying a key part of your SSD student wellness plan and inspiring partner districts to do the same. Send the message that our kids, all of our kids, are worth it.
Next is the approval of agenda. Do I have a motion on the table? All in favor?
Aye.
5.01, presentation of 2023-2024 educational partnership agreement.
Good evening again. The purpose of this presentation is to increase, the purpose of the partnership agreement is to increase knowledge and awareness of expectations for us to ensure collaboration takes place in our partner districts between special school district leadership and staff, as well as partner district leadership and staff. This tool helps us to monitor progress and to plan in many areas that include staffing, instruction, collaboration for programs and services, data and technology, transportation, as well as career tech. The partnership agreement helps to guide conversations as well. There are 7 categories, and those categories are listed here. I've referenced most of those in the opening purpose of this partnership agreement presentation. You also were provided with the link of the 23-24 partnership agreement. And I will talk about some of those changes that have taken place with this particular partnership agreement. Based on the PRC committee recommendations, the following areas were reviewed, and we did ensure that there was a focus on implementing and evaluating the outcomes of the partnership agreement, really focusing on the assessment tool and those as evidence biometrics. And that scale is a 0 to 3, 0 being not implemented at all, and 3 being fully implemented. Partnership agreements to ensure that they are discussed and adopted by the partner district school board, and that they are signed by the superintendent as well as the board president at both SSD and within the partner school district. The other recommendation was use of liaisons to provide transparent communication, outcomes, and next steps, and then to ensure that we identify the joint equity responsibilities of SSD and partner districts. And so this work was done in collaboration with our equity department as well as members of our partner district leadership. And to ensure that we share this information with you, we wanted to ensure that we were transparent. I talked about those baseline metrics, starting with 0 as the lowest and 3 as the highest. And so as we talk about these next 7 categories, I will share with you strengths and opportunities. So strengths will be anything with a score of 2 or higher, and anything below a 2 would be opportunities for us to really begin to hone in on collectively as a district, but also working with our partner districts. And so in the area of staffing, we did have some strengths in all of the categories, and we also have opportunities. Many of the opportunities that you will see are not just evident here in the partnership agreement. We are talking about quite a few of these components in our day-to-day functions and responsibilities as DLC members as well as cabinet members supporting each of our partner districts. When we take a look at staffing, so the strengths included selecting, evaluating, and supervising staff that's in partnership working together, as well as looking at scheduling and staff allocation. Some of those opportunities include looking at and collaborating on alternative staffing models in all of our partner districts, identifying strategies to increase staff retention, looking at collective bargaining agreements, ensuring that our partner districts use these as a tool to support our teachers and other support staff working in their districts, and to treat them just as they would their staff within their partner districts as well. And then also identifying performance-based evaluations to support professional growth. What are those conversations look like? In the area of teaching and learning, some of the strengths were looking at the tiered model gap of analysis, professional learning resources, how we coordinate the professional development that is offered, supporting new educators, providing materials and resources to support students in both special education and general education, and having that shared responsibility and accountability when we really begin to look at assessments, data, and monitoring. One of the opportunities identified in this area countywide, it includes looking at annual professional learning on the roles and responsibilities of an IEP team. We can always continue to enhance the work and efforts in that area, that ever-changing information. But also looking at SPED process and MTSS models. How do we support our partner districts with having robust MTSS models to support students requiring intervention and or services to be delivered in the special education setting. When we look at category 3, this is collaboration of responsibilities and resources. Those strengths, again, are looking at the referral, identification, and the IEP process in that nature, but then also the IEP team consensus. So those conversations are taking place. There are conversations taking place about space allocation. Of course, we know that countywide we will continue to have this, although with the strength here, this will always be a focus to ensure that the allocation of space is suitable for students receiving special education services. Having, again, access to materials and resources, but assessment of the relationships for those who needed support, and then having that collective ownership when we communicate across departments. How are we supporting our partner district families and staff with receiving that information? One of the opportunities identified in this particular category is ensuring that partner district domains and categories are considered in strategic planning in our partner districts. And that's something that when we meet with our partner districts at the start of the year, we help our directors to side by side align our goals and initiatives to the partner districts. And we want to continue to do that and model that expectation for all 22 districts. In the student services area, again, collaboration to support all students with strength, looking at equal access. And this includes, and it's not limited to, career ed, special education, related services, and professional learning opportunities that we have available. And really focusing in on the equity of services that we provide, as well as the services being offered in the least restrictive environment. Some of those opportunities include really looking at those multi-tiered systems of support and transition from pre-kindergarten to post-graduation. How do we help partner districts to continue to work to develop those plans? Looking at those procedures and tools to evaluate success and transitions across grade levels, looking at academic success, as well as positive post-transitions, again, in those post-secondary outcomes. Category 5 is data and technology, and a lot of work has been done here. But this is where we want to ensure that our students have access to resources, but not just our students, all of our families, our staff and partner districts, as well as any general education staff that are supporting our students. Looking at how we share bi-directional data, and we had this conversation actually earlier, and this is one of those areas where we know that although it's identified as a strength from the information received from each of the partner districts, we know that we still have a lot of work to do to establish those tools and resources for us to have easy access to data from both partner districts as well as special school districts. And really beginning to look at the safeguards and security measures as we develop centralized systems of support with each of the partner districts, professional development, what are some of those best practices, and then also looking at those annual agreements with each partner district. An opportunity identified is just having those joint conversations to develop dashboards for all students that address systems of support. How we look at access to programs and resources. What does the equity look like across the county, and meeting the needs of students in LRAs and transitioning students at all schools. Category 6 is a small area. This is transportation. There are some districts that do provide transportation services for students who require special education services. And so we have those districts, they have established agreements, and we really do focus on those transportation needs and really focusing in on those transitioning students. For example, students who may be tech, midday, early childhood, ESY, and other areas. And we did not have any opportunities in this area to enhance that were reported. And the last category, category 7, this is career and tech education. Again, looking at how do we embrace the culture and innovation to ensure that we are inspiring students who want to participate in career tech ed. How do we ensure that partner districts are adopting policies and procedures to maximize student access to our programs, but also aligning our programs to maximize resources in partner districts. Ensure that students of all learning abilities have access. Sharing of data again, also looking at how we develop and deploy methods to support our families who receive CTE programming, and ensuring that our students and families have access to opportunities to meet with CET representatives to talk about admissions requirements and other information. And ensuring that credits earned in the programs are accurately transcribed in partner districts. So those were some of the strengths reported. Opportunities include engaging and interacting with counselors, teachers, and administration. Again, those are always going to be consistent things that we will need to continue to do. But we will continue to monitor those pieces as well. And then how do we jointly market the CTE programs in our partner districts? Some of the next steps that we have in place as we finalize work with the partnership agreement, we're now moving into a state of working to revise our AC, our former AC principal 2, area coordinator principal 2. And this tool was put together to closely aligned with the partnership agreement. It was put together to ensure that we promote collaboration, face-to-face conversations in those working relationships within partner districts. The focus areas, again, including communication, accessibility, the role of the principal and the coordinator, but also collaborative decision-making and many of the practices that we are responsible for as leaders. But how do we also ensure that there's input from superintendents? And so one of the things that we did at the last superintendent meeting, we provided them with questions and opportunities to provide us with information via a survey at their level, and we want to also ensure that those opportunities will be available for partner district school leaders, our directors and coordinators working in schools, as well as other stakeholders. So beginning and end of the year dates are included here. The partnership agreement for the current year will end June 30th, and we recommend that those evaluations are discussed with superintendent, and they also recommend the same. Next year's partnership agreement should be presented and approved by our partner district board of education directors and members no later than September 29th. And then we want to ensure that those are submitted to the office of the superintendent for special school district no later than October 31st. items, any questions that you may have at this time.
Question, first of all, thank you for an excellent presentation. I would have one recommendation though.
Sure.
That's on your goal line. You know, when it was signed by the superintendent and your board of education. What you might want to consider, okay? You might want to add that it's also signed by the governing council member.
Understood.
And let me give you a rationale for that. First of all, I've noticed that they're the ones many times that bring back the information about SSD back to the boards. More important, we have a lot of times new individuals on the governing council, and I find the partnership to be an extremely important aspect of this whole governing council SSD board and how we all work, especially how we all work together. I'd love to get them involved. I know at one time we had one of the meetings with the governing council. We gave them a copy of what's going on in the districts, and we had dinner at that time. That's not my idea, and I hope we continue. But I would also like at that time to have the governing council sign and bring it back to their superintendent, and then bring it back there. It's just that I'd like them to play a role, because they play a large role. I just propose that. Maybe you want to weigh on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have one. And under the staffing, you said the opportunities of alternative staffing model. What does that look like? Or I know we haven't gotten to it yet, but what possibly look like?
Absolutely. So alternative staffing models would be anything outside of a traditional self-contained setting. So looking at co-teaching models, having opportunities for staff to enter into those general education settings and populations to provide those special education services.
Like the virtual or, gotcha. Well,
Absolutely. Depending on the district.
thank you. Our agenda for 2024 budget presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, President Patrick, Board of Education, Dr. Keenan. My name is Jeff Fox, the Chief Operating Officer for Special School District. Presentation is the same when you saw that. I will point out the changes. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our budget team who put this together. Amy Jacobs, our Director of Finance, she's with me here tonight. She is irreplaceable with the department. She's just amazing with what she does. Cynthia Vaughn, the same. She's our budget analyst. And then Steve Stevens, our financial analyst. There's all the revenue projections. It's an incredibly good team. I do want to thank them. This is a slide listing sometimes the goals, equity, staffing, curricular, support, facilities. This is our zero-based budget. We're going to start with the needs, the wants, and enhancements, and we're looking at the 3 tiers. All the partner districts and receptive schools, the disproportionality of school districts, and high needs districts. This is our revenue by source. Revenue by source did not change from the last time, so we're still projecting about 5. And then expenditures, we continue to adjust expenditures as we know more. Budget limiting estimates, and as we know, we can go ahead and change it. We can do that through the budget process, or we can do that through budget adjustments throughout the year. So as we know a little bit more, we bring those to you regularly, so we get a pretty accurate budget as we go. One area that we did reduce a little bit is purchase services. We kind of, as we get closer to the end of the year, we know we're going to fall, and we know we're historically going to fall. So we reduced purchase services supplies by about $4.5 to $5 million from the last time we talked. So a little less than 1%. We know we'll see some reductions or some savings in the other ones as well. So salaries, benefits. This budget presented to you at $583 million is if we expend 100%. And we know historically through different. We will do that, but it still gives a very accurate idea of where we are at this point. And then again, total additional staff requests 35 for 2.6 million, and total reduction of until vacancies we had reduced it to 176. We brought that down from 9 million to 8. So we'll see that segment. At this point, Ms. Moore and Ms. Pendergrass will come up and talk just a little bit about some of those unfilled vacancies.
Hello again. We wanted to first just share with you some of the processes that we use to work through this work that we've had to complete. In making the decision to consider positions, we audited our current staff and positions and student needs. We reviewed all school sites and levels when determining where staff can support student needs and staff moves may need to occur. But we also considered multiple data points and resources for decision making, which included our dashboard that we use to monitor caseload, staffing ratios, as well as adult support needs. We also looked at individualized IEP services and support, specialized programming, and master scheduling with some districts. From an equity lens, we wanted to ensure that the work and the process that we use supported all districts, all 22 districts. And we raised many questions through this process, through our strategizing and through our work. Knowing that these decisions were not easy, and we want to be extremely transparent and clear about that, but we understood the work that was given to us for us to make these decisions. And through that, we really wanted to ensure, and we posed questions to each other in cabinet, to think about each of the positions, the position categories that we were looking to make decisions on, and also ensuring that from that lens, we looked at how it could potentially impact, how do we compare the decisions across our 22 districts. And so many of the positions that we looked at, they may have ranged from anywhere from 0 days old to 45,000 days old. In North County, many ranged from about 20 days old to about 460 days. The countywide average, when we look at caseload, and we've shared this before, is 10. When we look at the state average, it's 18, and when we look at the national average, it's 22 to 1. Our highest average districts are Lindbergh at 15. We also have Ricker at a 14 to 1 teacher caseload, and we have Ladue, Melville, and Pattonville all at 13 to 1. When we look specifically at those North County districts and their averages, they are closely aligned with Afton, Davis Parkway, Rockwood, U-Cities, as well as Webster Grove. And we wanted to ensure that we were not only just looking at how it will impact us now, but how are we going to begin to plan moving forward? How do we have these conversations with each of our partner district directors, our SSD principals, our staff, and other individuals, and ensure that these decisions that we're listening, number one, how it will impact number two, but we're also supporting the plan. We know that there will be districts that may need staff at any point throughout the year, and so we know that we may come to you with those requests, and we ask that you gratefully listen to those requests and those needs that may be required in a district. But at the same time, we want to ensure that we do have a plan established for us to support any district at any point in time that may need that immediate support. One of the practices that we've used in partner districts this year, for example, for many of our districts where we have hard to fill positions, Dr. Yates did an excellent job of monitoring this work, but we had about 20 positions that we had on hold to ensure that our support and partnership with Kelly Services would provide us with sub coverage for those classroom positions. With those 20 codes, I think if I'm speaking correct, we may have rotated those codes 29 times throughout the county currently for this current school year. So with those 20 positions, we were able to support those immediate needs when they came from our directors with their justifications of staffing needs. We're going to continue to use that plan to support our partner districts. I've talked with Dr. Katie not only using that plan to support with paraprofessionals, but also with teachers. We did use this with teachers, and I believe Dr. Gates reported that it was only used once at the teacher level, with most of those other 28 being for the paraprofessional level. And so those are some of the ways that we want to ensure that we begin to support. We have set aside time to meet with each of the directors to talk about those needs and help them to build the plans. And we understand that it's difficult. It was difficult for me, thinking about those 22 districts that I serve and how to have these conversations with them. So I ask that everyone please have grace with all of us and a level of humbleness and respect as we make some very difficult decisions throughout the county. But let's ensure that we understand our why for showing up every day to ensure that we're supporting first and foremost our students, but looking how do we ensure that it's leveled throughout the county. When we begin to talk about our county districts, we do know that many of them will fall into the category of Tier 2 DISPRO as well as Tier 3 at risk. And we will continue to support all of those districts in that same fashion that we currently do now, but understanding that these are some very tough decisions. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Lee Pendergrass and we'll receive any questions that you might have.
I don't know how you follow that, but, everything she said, Dr. Bixby and I also worked with the building principals on a level of really identifying what positions are going to be in each one of their classrooms, what positions, how that would impact each one of the classrooms and the school in itself. Although they probably were not very happy, truth be told, they're working very collaboratively with Dr. Bixby and I, and understand that, as Dr. Moore said, that if and when we need positions, if and when students move in, when this would happen, that we would have no problem coming to the board and asking for the staff with data to support that for all of our positions.
If the one time, no, last year, when you met with each of us, when we were looking at staff that would go there, I found that very helpful. Can that continue? When we were talking about what needed to be and what group, and additional ones were going to be there, I found that to be very helpful. Can that continue this year?
And I think the more we are clear about what the need is and what positions are filled and what positions aren't filled, that will help better set us up for being able to recruit and retain staff. I think when you have over 200 vacancies in your paras and you have your teaching positions, it's hard to determine what is the priority and where it is. And so this exercise really was to be able to identify the need for each one of our districts and identify for our existing schools to better support and to hire. So we've got some more data that we were working on to be able to help present to the governing council that will provide to the SSD board. But it will identify what current positions are available and what we need to hire for next year.
Next on our agenda, 5.03, negotiations update, special district, presentation.
Review current status of negotiations with first, so I'd like the respective teams stand up, both the NEA team and the SSD administration team. Because we've been at this since January, and we've worked really hard together. We've had many opportunities to actually get to know each other and really act a true partnership. I think it's really important to understand that the way we approach negotiations is to figure out what is the best possible way to move forward. And I think that's really important. We are a community, and we approach it as a community. As you can see, we have a very robust team. We have approximately 20 people between the NEA and SSD administration. We spend a lot of time in NEA
We said, okay, we're just gonna reconvene tomorrow. But it was great. Again, with SDA, we engaged in the interest-based bargaining process, which we went through a 5-step process where we identified interests, we made sure that we were able to focus, we made sure that we were able to talk through an understanding before we got to solutions. One of the things that you don't want to do with IBB is embed solutions into your questions about what is interesting, what is interest for you, because that tends to close out possibility. And a big reason why I believe this was discussed is that we adhere to that process. We make sure that we're open to all kinds of answers and possibilities. In terms of the document, we had many language changes, clerical updates to include just changing the names of things like OESE, titles of various leadership, and then also making sure that we look at due process differently. We changed some aspects of the grievance procedure, and really looked at having some good discussions around safety to include where we want to form a safety committee to actually talk to go deeply into some of the concerns that have been common and keep on rising, both in terms of SSD schools and in our partner districts. Additionally, we looked at clarifying how we establish hours of work, and we looked at the school calendar holidays to make sure that Juneteenth was that to follow our partner district. We also looked at how could we really approach workload standards. One of the things that came out of that discussion is a workload summit, occasionally summit that will be taking place in June, led on the SSD side by Dr. Molly Golden and Wendy Pendergrass. And what that is going to do is to bring the SDA team and SSD team to just really talk through over the 4 days, how can we really come to a better understanding of what workload is? How can we utilize technology in a better way to impact it? How can we just do some better planning to really impact what's happening with case work? In terms of salaries and stipends, we looked at different ways in which we want to support our professional staff. One of the things that we identified was the reason that it's important to invest is that many of our staff members can actually bill for Medicaid. So in terms of helping some of our staff members with their professional licensure needs, we're actually investing in revenue generating possibilities and increasing that for this. Again, some scripter changes in looking at ESY summer programs, because with some of our partner districts, they are facing summer programs. We want to make sure that our faculty or staff are involved with that. Looking at changing how we are updating information around what happened with our tuition reimbursement. Also increasing the number of times that we will pay out through the year, and looking at changes across all units to all employees in terms of how we look. Additionally, other language changes, probably I think we had some of the most substantive changes of all associations with SDNEA. Just really looking at making sure that we were clear on what was happening with non-paid absences. Again, as we did with other units, looked at expanding bereavement leave, updating our understanding of seniority, and we class of this one, we got rid of the transfer figure. So we now we'll be doing a transfer process that will go to a lot of years. We believe that this will be a much more efficient way for us to staff and fill positions as they come. We're looking at a duration for language of 3 years and 1 year for salary. We've also added an additional appendix regarding some of the other needs of our nursing staff. One of the things that we've done is we've kind of expanded the use of our memorandum of understanding to include the occasional workload committee. We're going to be forming a compensation committee because there's been, I think, a common interest in looking at our current salary schedule and figuring out how to make it a little bit more rational and also to even out some of the big jumps that we have on there. And then also looking at how we build better structures for supporting nurses. So the outcomes have been looking at establishing paid parental leave, establishing a PTO bank, the support for licensure costs, and the increase of PTO payout to include upon that. In terms of salary agreements, the 10-month teacher level there's been an increase of 4.9%, from this year's cost, and for 12 months, 4.75%. Additionally, there have been some slight revisions to the SDBLS and SDEA joint resolutions. These were achieved through consensus. For SDBLS and SDEA, we were changing the revised date for approval, making sure that Memorial Day was not mandated as part of the district calendar, and then again, revising some of the line PTO. Additionally, with SDEA, part of the salary proposal was around creating a tier structure for degree attainment. We're actually going to process of rolling that out over 3 years, so that by year 3, we will be compensating fully for bachelor's and master's as well. Answer the questions.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion on the table for the approval of fiscal items?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Will be a closed meeting. Oh, do I have a motion on the table to have a closed meeting of the Board of Education on Tuesday, May 23rd, tonight, right after the meeting? All of those.
Oh, sorry.
Tuesday, June 13th. Tuesday, June 13th at 5:40 p.m.
And May 25th, and also tonight.
Tonight. Yes, yes. I'll need a roll call for that. Director Answer?
Yes.
Director Cunha?
Yes.
Director Hudson? Yes. Director Muller?
Yes.
Vice President Byers?
Yes.
President Patra? Yes. The following items were approved during the executive meeting on April 25th, 2023. Employment, resignation, retirement, salary adjustments, extra duty pay, the reemployment of support staff for the 23-24 school year, the reemployment of part-time hourly staff for the 23 year, 2 contract release requests, 1 non-renewal of support staff, 1 termination of employment. Following items were approved during the executive meeting on May 9th, 2020. Resignations, retirement, salary adjustments, and extra duty pay. Does anyone have any board communications? I always do. My favorite part, yes. We all got to be at graduations for university school, and it's just amazing to see seniors or 8th graders going on to high school. They're so proud. They're so happy. It's wonderful to see. So thank you to all the teachers, all the staff who helped us get to that place. 10.01 calendar events. What page? Do I have a motion for adjournment? All in favor?
Aye.